That's a good one. I really like that one. What about the aging signs of stress? You know what I'm thinking of are some of the politicians you see on TV. Isn't it so true that they age, they look different going into office as compared to when they come out of office, maybe 4 or maybe 8 years later or what have you? There's lots of examples.
Oh, absolutely. And this is something you can see, if you're watching the television over those years, it's dramatic.
Yeah.
And yes, even, studies have shown, so a study was done in mice, because it's one of those old wives' tales, oh, you're going to get gray hair, you're giving me more gray hair, right? When you're stressed out and you say this to people, but it's actually been studied. So in the Nature journal, they found that there was something called the hyperactivation of sympathetic nerves, which is part of our autonomic nervous system, drives the depletion of melanocyte stem cells. And this was specifically the hair graying results from the activation of these sympathetic nerves. So that's the fight or flight response that you may have heard of in the autonomic nervous system that had an influence on the melanocyte stem cell niche. And so what that's saying is that yes, in times of stress, when they stressed out these poor mice, they turned gray. And that's cause and effect, right? And I know we're not mice as humans, but often we use mice as examples. Certainly we don't want to do this on too many humans because they wouldn't be too happy if we're stressing them out and giving them gray hair in a study, right? So as an example, and we know, anybody that I've seen that's gone through a very stressful period, then they do gray very quickly because of the stress. So it is in the literature. Another one is the aging process. So people that have been, they lost a loved one in their family and they've gone through, or maybe job stress, they've gone through a very difficult period of time. You can see it in their face. It looks often that they've aged, 10, 15 years, all because of the stress. So that would be another example. One of the lesser known signs of stress would be TMJ. So have you heard of TMJ?
Yes.
So when people get the jaw aches and clicking in the jaw, sometimes clenching at night, which can be related to suppressed anger, but also stress. And so that clenching can be related, to one of the symptoms and signs of stress. So definitely, if that's your body is telling you that you've got some of these things happening, then absolutely you want to, first of all recognize it, but then try to do something about it. Another one would be high blood pressure.
Okay.
So that's definitely related to stress. And this is something when I used to see my patients and I would take their blood pressure, of course, wearing my white coat and giving the blood pressure test. Always the first time that I would take the blood pressure, it would be very high, and that's just because of white coat syndrome. That's what it's called when you're fearful of the doctor with the white coat.
White coat syndrome.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
And so what I would do is I would take the blood pressure again after they've relaxed for a few moments, and sure enough, the blood pressure would come down, quite a lot, up to 10, 15 points.
Makes sense, though.
It does, right? So we have to watch our stress. Another symptom of stress would be acne. So at any age, so we think of, the teenagers and the younger kids with hormonal changes, that would be, in that age group, but not necessarily. It could be even adults will break out with acne because of the stress. So my tip to help with, the acne and some of the other symptoms of stress would be always to detoxify the body. So getting rid of those internal toxins, whether you do it with your diet and cleaning up the diet, getting a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. If you choose to go with herbal medicines, absolutely. If you've got questions about that, we're going to have links at the bottom of today's episode to some herbal medicines that can help with that. But once in a while, do a clean out. I usually say at least 4 times a year to do a full body detox, get those toxins out, and that will help to alleviate the stress on your organs so that you can better handle some of the other stresses that are in your life. And sometimes when that toxicity level and that load builds up, then we're less able to deal with the everyday stresses. So that's my tip for helping with some of those symptoms of stress.
It's so nice to know that Dr. Janine will be online during the show to answer your comments, your questions, subject matter ideas that you have. So leave those comments in the comments section below. And remember to like and subscribe and share the video and click the bell too so you never miss another episode. And speaking of other episodes, you can check out previous episodes on YouTube if you would like to see what you've missed or go over some of the other things that we're referring to, for example, even in this show. And also, be sure to follow Dr. Janine on Instagram, on Facebook, also on TikTok. at Dr. Janine. That's DoctorJanine. Every Monday, 7 o'clock, with a naturopathic doctor, and answers, or questions with natural answers, really, with the Dr. Janine Show.